what kind of house do you envision? Like, what is a starter home to you? What is that in between level? And then what is the house that you want to have like when your kids are in high school? Just dream about it. This doesn't have to be your final answer.
Yeah. No, I guess things that come to mind is like that starter level is like just a house with character, right? Okay. Like you mentioned, like the house is just right here on the east side, right? Like they have character, right? Yeah. Just something where like I think my early family would just be a fun environment to grow in, right? It's not a cookie cutter home, right? But obviously, dictate on price, all that. But obviously in a good area. I love like the outdoors. So maybe somewhere like close to a forest preserve or like a big yard. Like what I want is like for my children to have like a very like formulative and adventurous like childhood. Cool. So like if that means like a big yard, if that means there's a stream in the backyard that doesn't break the bank, right? But like it doesn't have to be like a massive mansion home, but that's in terms of the area, but the home could look like a humble looking ranch home, you know, like one floor. Yeah. But something that provokes adventure for my children.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. Okay. So that helps actually a lot. Not that we're thinking about that now, but I'm envisioning like, as you're talking in my mind, I'm thinking about where that house is around here.
Yeah. And then something close, obviously to like a good, obviously safe neighborhood, like close to like maybe like a community center where like we could do a lot of extracurriculars, close to different like elementary schools, like all those different things too. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's exactly what I wanted you to come up with. Like that painted a really good picture, you know. Now in 4 years when we're talking about this, then we're going to be talking about, okay, where can we get that and what the price is going to be? Because oftentimes like that picture in your brain of what you have is not in your price point, or there isn't something in that location that you want, or you're going to have to sacrifice something. You know, maybe it's like you sacrifice the school district's not A+, but you have that stream in the backyard and your kids are still young and you don't really care. You know? Or maybe it's like, no, like school is the number one thing for me. I want to be in the best school district. I want my kids to have that foundation. Okay, cool. That throws us into a totally different place. And you're not going to get the stream in the yard, but you can have what's most important to you. Right. So that's why it's like, it's really important to dream like this, because then you start to talk about it and think, and then you're going to be talking to your significant other about what is her dreams, you know, and then you guys have to come together on that.
Compromise on that.
There's so many levels of this, you know, but we're starting out with dreaming and we got you just now. So this is perfect. Okay. That's what you want. And then what about like do you think that there's a house between that and your dream home?
Oh, certainly. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause a dream home, that's like, you know, that's a dream home. There's a lot of boxes that I want to check off on dream home there, but I think for the sake of just like, I anticipate, well, you know, having, you know, the family gets a little bigger, like, you know, 3-4 children or whatever. I would just think that like we would outgrow that home. So, yeah.
All right. So now you have a home in between and then you have your dream home.
Yeah.
Right. What age, again,
you're really forcing me to think though.
In your mind's eye, what age are you thinking like when do you want to be in that dream home?
Oh, in that dream home, I do think that at that point, like my children will be like maybe almost ending their high school careers at that point. So I don't know how old I'd be. Maybe.
Right, so you're 45 or 50.
Yeah, like mid 40s, 50. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so now let's just say you're 50 and you're by that dream home, right? Now look back. What do you have behind you? You have that duplex that you bought that's going to be paid for by then and still being rented out. So you have that starter home that you bought and that's rented out, and that hopefully would be somewhat close to being paid off. You got that in-between home that you lived in for say 15 years. Okay, so you know, again, if you're doing things right, maybe that's paid off, or it's at least the mortgage is low on it. And then now you have a mortgage on your new house, right? So you have 2 properties that are just straight income stream. you have this third one that I'm sure you'd be making money on at that point, but you know, maybe it's, even if it's tight, like who cares, you know, and then you have your dream home.
Yeah.
And then now, and you're 50.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're 65 and ready to retire, now you got these 3 income properties, and you're living in your dream home. Maybe at that point you're like, well, we're heading to Arizona, you know? So maybe you sell all those properties and buy that second dream house in Arizona, and you move back and forth, or you pay someone to manage those properties, and you know, you can move to Arizona and just have a nice income stream as you're older. So you didn't do anything different in your life to get to that point. And each one of those properties, you know, you paid 3% for the first one, probably paid 3% down for the second one. You know, maybe you ended up putting 10 or 20% down on the third and the fourth. But, you know, you didn't invest a lot of money into all of that. Now you are investing time and headaches and things like that. So, you know, being a landlord is not for everybody. And so you might keep that duplex forever because it's kind of an easy rental, but maybe at some point you want to sell the second home, or you want to sell the third home. Like, you can do whatever you want, or maybe in order to get your dream home, you got to sell the third home, you know, and then, but you still have those other 2. Like, there's a lot of variations of this plan, but I would think as a, you know, a 65-year-old family guy with, you know, adult children, it's gonna be pretty nice to own, you know, 3 investment properties, you know, flat out. And that didn't take away from your 401k. It didn't take away from your other investments that you want to do. It didn't stop you from, you know, taking a chance on starting a business, or in fact, sometimes that can help that stuff, you know. Once your house is paid off, you also have access to a ton of cash, you know, not cash that you want to use for vacations and stuff like that. But if you have another investment that you want to use it for, then wow, it's great to have that money available to you, you know, without taking it, again, not taking it from anything else. So, and again, this is just part of your financial plan. This is not the whole thing. You know, I still want you investing in the stock market and taking flyers on other things and doing what you want to do in life. And, you know, like, that's what's beautiful about my life now. You know what I've always said, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you need. That's what makes you rich. You know, if I set myself up where I only need this much, then, and I know I could do that working at Home Depot, then I'm free. I can do whatever I want to do, you know? And so the rat race is, you know, I have to make more money to handle my lifestyle. You know, for me, I personally rather lower what I need, you know, and then be able to spend that money on things that are more fun to me. You know?
No, that's great, because I think you asking me those questions, I really had to think inward and like really figure out what it is that I want. And I've never had to do that before, ever. But it's also very hopeful, because it's like you helped me like cast a vision of what the next 20, 30 years of my, 30, 40, the rest of my life could look like if, I decide to take on properties like this. And I think when you are in your early 20s and you're figuring out career, there's a lot of things that you're figuring out. You don't necessarily think about those things. And that's maybe why, like, from my very limited perspective, it's like all I can think about is renting. It's like, how can you even think about getting a home or owning something like that? But it's like the way you broke it down, like you said, like, it's not taking time away from, I mean, it is, but like, you're not taking money from your 401k to put that into that. It's like just having a plan, pretty much. Yeah.
It's having a plan. And again, we set the plan, and then life happens and
you adjust.
Right. But the key is that, at each step of the way, we want to make sure that in the worst case scenario, you're still okay. So because, buying a house right now today, if that's your situation and you don't know where you're going to be in 3 or 4 years, then I would say, no, it's not the right time to buy a house. Because there's a good chance that in 3 years, your house isn't worth any more than what you paid for it today. There's almost as good a chance that it would be worth a little bit less. there's a small chance it'll be worth a lot less, and then there's a chance that it'll be worth more as well. You know, but because it's expensive to sell your house, you know, I mean, you know, if your house increases 3% a year for 3 years, and then you go and sell it, like, you're not going to come away with very much money, if any at all, because it costs money to sell your house. You know, now we're trying to work on that and help those costs be less and still get great service. But the fact is that it does cost money to make those transactions. You know, so, you know, if someone came to me and said, you know, I don't know where I'm going to be, or I'm at a job right now where I could easily get transferred in a couple years, and, you know, I'd need to take that job, you know, then yeah, you're probably better off renting for a couple years, you know, or let's look at a different way to invest in real estate, and maybe explore those options. You know, there's a lot of ways to invest in real estate. You could do it very passively. You know, I have a guy that I know that he buys and sells houses all over the country. You know, he finds the deals, whether they be in Detroit or Alabama or Tennessee or whatever. He'll find those deals, and he just brings people in for the money, right? And so he'll give you a return. I mean, obviously there's risk to everything, but he'll go in and buy a house cheap, fix it up, and then sell it, and then he takes your money, and then you get a return for that. You know, so I mean, it's like, it's a way to get into real estate. It's almost like a Vanguard fund, or, you know, buying stocks. You know, where but maybe that's what people want to do, you know, and if that sounds really fun to you or to anybody, then we can talk about that too. You know, so there's so many different options, and, you know, but as you see, like, it comes down more to you. It has way more to do with you than it has to do with me. You know, I just have a philosophy. I have a structure. I have a plan that I like to see people pursue. But there's 100 different ways to live your life. You know, I'm just offering one, you know, or trying to help figure out the best way to use the real estate market to improve your life. Again, I'm not saying you do that scenario that we talked about, and you have the 3 home. I'm not saying that's where all your money goes. You know, no, I still want to see you save enough money. I want to see you have money in the stock market. You know, we want like a nice overall picture, you know, financially. So,
well, I know who I'm going to be calling when I need real estate help. So
awesome.
Yeah, you got yourself a client.
There you go. I love it.